Hey, did it.
24th of May, Rabbi Levitt, Pele Yoetz.
Okay, wow. Pele Yoetz. Let's see what we have here today. Baruch Hashem.
Rabbi Levitt?
Yes,
Levitt?
good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Did you listen to the World of Patokan the other morning where he quoted?
Oh yeah, I listened. It wasn't I thought I mistakenly understood that you mentioned Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky,
Yeah.
but they mentioned Reb Chaim Kanievsky.
Oh,
That's all.
but saying that whatever Hashem had in store for him, that's the way it should be, right?
Yeah. It was
Powerful words.
Yeah. Whatever happened with him in his life, he was always completely zufrieden, satisfied and happy with it and accepting of it, and that because he had a very interesting explanation, because he knew, step one, he knew that it was, if it would happen, he knew that it was the Ratzon Hashem. That is exactly what happened. This is the Ratzon Hashem. If it happened, it's Ratzon Hashem. And he, Reb Chaim Kanievsky, that's all he wanted in his whole life was Ratzon Hashem. That's why he learned so much Torah. That's why he did so much mitzvahs. That's why he did. He was, and also everything that happens is Ratzon Hashem. So he wants that too. So he's happy. He's happy with everything that Hashem gives him. So that was very good. Yasher koyach. So it looks like we it looks like we completed the entry on Tam.
Yes,
Completed the entry on Tam.
Yep.
Okay. And he actually did mention about mitzvahs that we don't. How did he put it exactly? Oh, regarding the mitzvahs which have no revealed tam, a person should think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to provide us a merit for Klal Yisrael, and therefore he increased their Torah and mitzvahs. That is, I've never heard that as a reason that's a very interesting thing that he says here. It's fascinating. I never heard that. In other words, he's saying that's the time that we could have in mind for a mitzvah that we don't have any revealed reason. That's the reason. So if there's this mitzvah of Shatnez, this mitzvah of Paraduma, this mitzvah of Basar V'cholav, various mitzvahs are categorized in this way. It's as being chukim, that we don't have a revealed reason. So the Pele Yoetz says, so what should a person think? Has v'shalom, he should not do the mitzvahs on nashim yilamodo. He shouldn't do it by rote, because he doesn't have any reason why he should be doing this mitzvah. He doesn't have any revealed reason, so he does it without any without a bren. He doesn't do it with a vigor and an ava and a yira. No, he should think of the following reason. What's the reason that Hashem gave us this mitzvah that doesn't seem to have any reason for it? Because he made it a mitzvah because he wants us to have more and more mitzvahs and give us more and more a possibility of providing merits. And providing merit for who? Providing merit for the Jewish people. Because every time a person does a mitzvah, it's certainly true that he's providing merit for himself. He's part of the Jewish people too. But it's much more than that. It's a global happening. He is providing merit for the entire Jewish people when he does a mitzvah. Tremendous words of the Pele Yoetz. Okay. So with that, we can go on to the next entry here on page 352. It's called Tirda. That's Tirda.
Underneath the dalet is a kametz.
Tirda. Right.
All right. And the translation?
We in our translator is translated as distraction.
Mm-hmm.
He has distractions.
And you would say it is also distraction, or?
I don't really, it's not that he's, I mean, maybe he has a different understanding of the word from based upon what the Pele Yoetz is talking about. But a tirda is something that tirda means really that he's involved in it's a situation where he's supposed to be involved in X, and because of a tirda that he has to it's preventing him from being totally involved in X, because he has to be involved in, because of the tirda. The tirda is matrid him to require him to be involved in Y. Either it requires him to do so, or it just he can't help but doing so. Like what's the Gemara's example? The Gemara's example is that you have a chassan. It's the day of his chasna, right? And now it's time for Ma'ariv. So the Gemara says that he's patur from saying Kriya Shema. Why is he patur from saying Kriya Shema? Because he's torad b'mitzvah. His mind is taken up and preoccupied with the mitzvah that he's going to perform that night after the chasna with his wife, the Maisa mitzvah, and because of that, he doesn't have the mental capability of fully focusing on the mitzvah of Kriya Shema, which requires full focus of Kabbalah's Ol Malchus Shemayim. So we say that he's, I think the Gemara says it, or Rashi says it, or somebody says it. He says he's torad b'mitzvah. So you could say, yeah, he's distracted by that mitzvah that he's going to have to do, that he's supposed to do that night. A person could be Torah with other things, not just a mitzvah. He can't learn this morning because he's Torah. What's he mean? He's Torah. He has to do this. He has to take care of that, and if he doesn't do it, it's not gonna. He has to do it. So he's preoccupied. He needs to involve himself in something other than what his original intention and the focus was supposed to be on. Okay. So let's see what the Pele Yoetz has to say about Tird. So who would like to start today? Whose turn is it to start today? I don't remember.
I'll start.
Alan, okay.
Distraction. A distraction ruins all service of Hashem. A devout person must maintain his composure and place upon Hashem his burden. See Tehillim 55:23. When distraction of his heart comes to him, he must contemplate the love and fear of Hashem and imagine that he is involved in a business deal with tens of thousands of gold dinarim. If someone calls him to a different place to earn a pruta, smallest value of a coin, he will raise a strong voice and say, "Leave me alone. I am not available. I am working on a huge deal and I'm not concerned about the loss of a pruta. I simply do not have the time to worry about it. Beyond this, if he carries the burden of Hashem, then Hashem will carry his burden. Those whose hope is in Hashem will renew their strength." Yahoo. The sages already made an analogy in the Midrash, Shocher Tov, Tehillim Parak 17. There was a person living in Tiberias who had a field in Tzipori, and there was a person from Tzipori who had a field in Tiberias. They said to each other, "You watch for me and I will watch for you." So too, the fear of Hashem is on the earth, for everything is in his hands of heaven, except for the fear of heaven, and bread is from heaven. The Holy One, blessed be he, says, "You watch for me and I will watch for you." A man should look at his sons and members of his household and see how they are not distracted by the issue of earning a living or related matters, because they are supported by their father, who is flesh and blood, just like them. They say, "What problem do we have? May a father live a long time. We who can rely on and trust our Father in heaven, how much more so? This and similar things the living man must take to his heart. He will live a life of pleasantness and embrace his maker and his service."
Wow. Okay, we have to look up this pasuk over here. Famous pasuk in Tehillim. That he said you have to. This pasuk in Tehillim says. Place your burden on Hashem. Tehillim 55:23. Oops. Oh, and while we're at it, there's a pasuk in Yeshaya later on.
55
Medrash Tehillim as well. Okay.
is 15, is Nun 50? What's 50?
None.
What?
Tehillim Nun Hey.
Nun Hay. Nun, hey, 55 what? Where is it? Oh,
23.
55,
53.
23.
Tav Gimel.
23. Oh, it's the second last one. Cast upon the Lord what has been placed upon you. He will provide for you. He will never allow the righteous to be moved.
Hashlich El Hashem. Oh, let's see here. 55. Oh, I don't believe it. How could it be? It cannot possibly be. Huh. Oh, that's unusual. Okay. Okay. I just took this book of Psukim and Bitachon and Yeshua, and they don't have this pasuk in there. I'll have to get a regular Tehillim. Not here either. Oh, here's one. Okay. Here's the Tehillim, Sefer Tehillim with the parish of the Sforno. And Nun Hey. Nun Hey. Of Gimel. Hashlich al Hashem. Here we are. This is one of the Chobos Halavavos, the duties of the heart. Yes, Hashlich al Hashem, Yahavcha. What's Yahavcha? That is the question over here.
I've
Throw
got
under
here,
Hashem your Yahav. What is a Yahav?
the burden I've got here. According to Megillah 18a, Yahavcha means your burden. But if Yahav is the root of Hav, from which we derive the interjection Hava, then therefore it means to bring, to give. Then Yahavcha would denote not only that which the Lord gives you to bear, but rather that which you have to bring, or the duty which is incumbent upon you.
Who says that?
This is in, what have I got? Raphael Hirsch.
Hirsch.
And this one here I'm holding up. Let's see what I've got. And he says also that in Genesis 45:11, Leva Shechas, not Bo Shechas, the pit of destruction, but Ba Shechas, the well of destruction, from which destruction springs forth. Well, anyway, I don't know what's referred to there, but anyway, that's what he says.
Okay, Hashlich al Hashem Yahavcha, V'hu Yichalka Lecha, and he will support you. Lo yitain la'olam mot l'tzadik. He will not ever give a moat to the tzaddik. Lo yitain la'olam mot l'tzadik. Sforno says al tasur mi beis Shaul ki Hashem yazreka. Oh, interesting. He's explaining David's words in a personal sense. Al tasur mi beis Shaul. Don't stray away from. Don't go away from the house of Shaul. Shaul HaMelech was David's father-in-law, who was who the Psukim say was pursued after David. He thought that David was interfering in his kingdom and the kingdom of the future kingdom of his son Yonasan. And here, David is saying to himself, don't go away from the house of Shaul. Ki Hashem yazreka. You don't have to worry about Shaul. Hashem is going to help you. V'zeh haya mi'ayetz. K'dei sheyuchal Shaul lahamiseni. Oh boy, I don't know what that is all about. Zeh haya mi'ayetz. K'dei sheyuchal Shaul lahamiseni. I don't even feel capable of taking an educated guess at what the Sforno means by that. This he gave him an eitzah like this. Kadesh yuchal shol al miseni. That David shouldn't be concerned that if he doesn't run away and he doesn't I'm not sure. I have to take a look at the whole parak. Okay.
I've got here that
Yeah.
Hashalach, etc. These were the words that Achitophel was wont to carry on his lips, which David, in all the bitterness of his grief and such deceit, recalls once more at the end of this Tehillah. Then he breaks off with verse 24, concluding Psalm 55 with a note of confidence, stating that he knows that all men of Achitophel's kind bring about their own destruction by their evil acts. And then what I said before, according to Megillah 18, Yahavad Vach means your burden.
Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah, the very next pasuk is the pasuk that we say goes on Achitophel and Dog Adomi.
In what?
The two people that Achitophel was David's trusted advisor, who you're saying gave him this advice, and the other person is Doeg. Doeg Ha'adomi, we call him. He was the Rosh Sanhedrin.
Mm.
And both of them were Doeg was the one that reported to Shaul that David had sought refuge in Nob, Ir Kohanim, and when he was in flight from Shaul, and he provided and Achi Samach, the Kohen Gadol, provided food and provisions as well as weaponry to David HaMelech. So when Doeg related this information to Shaul HaMelech, so that got the entire city of Nob in hot water. So
Yeah.
Doeg was stirring up a lot of trouble all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. Shaul killed them all. Had them all killed, murdered.
So, yeah, at the end of the day, both of them were, that's what this pasuk says over here. Anshe Domi Mumirma. These men, the two of them, Achitophel and Doeg, are Anshe Domim. They're men of blood, Umirma, and deceit and trickery. Lo Yechesu Yamehem. They will not live out even half of their days. That a person is has the pasuk says Yimei Shenosenu Behem Shivim Shana, 70 years, and Ubegvuros Shmonim Shana. He's Gibor. He has 80, and they didn't even live out half of that amount. And then David says, "Vani avtach bach." I only trust in you, Hashem. Shelo epol biodam, says the Sforno. I won't fall into their hands. But now that you've mentioned this, that this was something that Achitophel advised to David, I understand what the comment of the Sforno is over here. This is what he said to David. He said, it's very interesting, because this pasuk is used by the Chovos Halavavos in Shar B'tachon, to have B'tachon in Hashem. It's a proper thing to have B'tachon in Hashem, right? Cast your burden on Hashem, and he will support you, right? So, but over here, you're saying that the history is that this was what David wrote this pasuk because this is what the intention of Achitophel. He gave him this advice: Al tasur mibei Shaul. Don't go away from the house of Shaul. Don't worry, Hashem will help you. And this was what he advised to David, Kadesh Yuchal Shaul Amiseni. And David is here saying that the reason why Achitophel was telling him, "Oh, David, just trust in Hashem, just have bitachon," right? David is declaring here that these words of bitachon were told by Achitophel to him, David, not really as per any other reason other than that to allow Shaul to be able to kill David.
Mm.
But it didn't happen. So that's what it says. That's what David says over here. They were the ones that wanted to murder, and so that machshava boomeranged and came back on them. Lo yachsu yamehem. Okay, very good. Okay, so That's the pasuk in Tehillim. And now we have a pasuk in Yeshaya. Because this is what the Pele Yoetz is saying. He says, cast. Oh, and this is how the whole thing comes about over here with the tirda, with the distractions. The Pele Yoetz is saying that when a person is involved in a mitzvah, he's involved in learning, and then he gets a phone call, and there's somebody on the phone. He wants to make a business deal with you. So what do? Do you tell your chavrusa, my dear chavrusa, we have to stop the chavrusa now because I have an opportunity to make a big deal. And the Pele Yoetz says, you got it all wrong. Your big deal that you're gonna get is if you continue with your chavrusa. But that big deal that's waiting for you on the telephone, that's a few pennies in comparison to your seder with your chavrusa. That's the big deal. That's where you're making millions over there. So don't be torud, don't be distracted and start thinking about big deals. And then he invokes the pasuk in Tehillim. But where am I going to make my parnasa? Cast your burden on Hashem. That's the pasuk. So that's what he says. If he carries the burden of Hashem, then Hashem will carry his burden. And then he quotes this pasuk in Yeshaya. Let's see this pasuk in Yeshaya. I have Yeshaya right here. Mem Lamed Aleph. Okay, this is a pasuk that we are familiar with. And there's always a discussion how to pronounce the first word in this pasuk. Do we say Koive Hashem or do we say Koye Hashem? But in any case, that comes from the word Kave. Kave El Hashem. And Kave is one of the 10 languages of Bitochen. It says over here, Koye Hashem, those that have Bitochen and live a life of Bitochen, Yachlifu Koyach. Their koach will be literally exchanged. When they are tired and weary, they'll get new powers. They'll get new kochas. Yaklifu koach. What does Reb Schwab say over here? He has a whole thing over here, what he says. He translates those who are hopeful of Hashem. I don't think hoping is the correct translation of the word bitochen. Goyim hope in this and that and the other thing. They hope that will happen. They hope that will happen, but they don't really give any great. If you'd ask them to bet on it, they would say, "Oh no, I'm not going to bet on it. I just hope that it happens." I don't think hoping is a correct translation of the word Koive Hashem. Those who have bitochen in Hashem.
Is it trust?
So Reb Schwab says over here, trust is closer. It's a form of bitochen. trusting. He says those who place their unshakable hope and trust in Hashem, he's very careful to shy away from the word rely. But that is really the bottom line of what bitochen is. It's reliance. But that's a very high madriga, and so therefore he translates it as those who have unshakable hope and trust in Hashem. They have earned a title. Yeshaya is giving them a title. They have a title as being Koyei Hashem, the hopeful of Hashem. The word kav really means a rope or a string which is used for attachment of one thing to another, as in tikvas chut hashani hazeh, the rope of this red thread. Similarly, when one places his unshakable hope, I really don't like that word, I'm not going to use it. He places his unshakable bitochen in Hashem, he is attaching himself to Hashem. That's what it's called, living with Hashem. And that's what we're supposed to do. Tzadik be'emunasoi yichya. With his emunah, he lives with Hashem. That's the idea of living with Hashem. It's expressed in his emunah and in his bitochen, in his unshakable reliance and trust in Hashem. And now, they get, Yeshaya says they're going to get a good thing over here. These people who are the hopeful of Hashem, yachlifu koach. What's that mean? Literally, they exchange strength, says Reb Schwab. Meaning, they exchange their old, worn-out, exhausted power for a fresh, new supply of youthful power. What does that mean? Says Reb Schwab, in times of suffering, one may be tempted to think that all hope is gone. But the Jewish nation is being blessed here, that their hope for the Geula will be renewed and strengthened. In modern day life, we could illustrate this as exchanging an old worn-out battery for a fresh new one. So besides its ordinary meaning of Hashem giving continued strength to the Jewish nation to keep up its hope and its bitochen and emunah in the Geula Shlema, it also means that Hashem gives renewed strength to individuals who exhaust themselves in the furtherance of worthy Torah causes. They shouldn't become weary and dejected, I guess, if they find that their involvement in this worthy Torah cause is not so easy. It's not so easy. They should continue and find strength to go on and continue to support and be involved in this worthy Torah cause that they are involved in. As the pasuk in Tehillim says, Od Yenuvun b'seva deshenim v'rananim yeyu. They still bear fruit in old age. They will remain full of sap and vigor. This is what happened with Reb Eli Elopian. Reb Eli Elopian was a famous Torah figure in Kelm in Europe, and then he in the Holocaust he ran away and he ended up I believe in England, and he lived years in England, and at the end of his life he wanted to come to Eretz Yisrael, and he did, and shortly after he got there, people were agitatingly demanding that he accept a position as a mashgiach in yeshiva. And he said, I came here to live as a private citizen, and I'm an old man already. And so he went to the Chazon Ish to ask the Chazon Ish for an eitzah. What should he do? The Chazon Ish told him this pasuk, Od Yenuvun b'seva You wanna have good years in your old age? Take on more responsibility, and Hashem will give you the vigor to continue and continue. And in fact, that's what he did, and he became even much more bigger than he ever was here in Eretz Yisrael in his old age than when he was in his previous years. The bracha of the Chazon Ish was fulfilled. Rav Eli Lopian. Okay, so that's the pasuk in Yeshaya. Yachlifu koach. That's the koach of bitachon. Casting your burden on Hashem. Hashem will give you everything that you need to do. He'll give you the resources. He'll give you the koach. Everything. Okay. Oh, and what's this that he says over here at the end? He so that's what the Medrash says. Hashem says, Kadosh Baruch Hu says to us, you watch for me and I'll watch for you. In other words, you watch for me, so to speak, my mitzvahs and Torah that I commanded you to do. You watch that. That's mine. And I'll watch for you. Your field needs to be taken care of. Your house needs to be taken care of. Your family needs to be taken care of. Who's going to do it? If not me. Hashem says, don't worry, I'll take care of it. So that's bitachon. Okay, very good. We could go on with this. This is all matters of bitachon over here. And then he says, look at a person should look at his sons. Who do the sons rely on? They rely on Tati. He's going to be the one that we can rely on. May our father live a long life, and he'll continue to help us. And we have nothing to worry about, right? So the Pele Yoetz says, look at these foolish sons that they are. They rely on their father. Their father is an old man, and he's only flesh and blood, and he only has a certain number of years, and yet. And they rely on him. Nevertheless, they rely on him. But we who can rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he has all the koiches, and he's forever, Ein Sof. So wouldn't that be a more reliable thing to rely on? Wow, that's amazing. He calls this tirda, but I think this is a little section here on bitachon. It's all about bitachon. This what he's written over here. He's saying the way to not be distracted and the way to not be preoccupied with tirdas and things that distract the person from his avodas Hashem and say, oh, I got to do this, oh, I got to do that, oh, I got to do that, is bitachon. The more bitachon he has, the more he'll be able to focus on his avoda and do it and do the mitzvahs that he's got to do. Okay. Very good. So we go on to Teva. Oh, we'll be very interested to read this. Oh, look at this.
A
He has
long
a
one.
lot about this. It's got almost 3 pages about this. Okay, everybody knows that Teva is nature. Okay, so we go to Lou. Would you like to start off?
It is incumbent upon every individual to conduct his affairs according to the principles of nature in regard to the preservation of his health and the earning of a living. As I wrote earlier in the entry Das. However, our eyes see that there are many people who did so to no avail. Even though they conducted themselves according to natural law, aggressively safeguarded their health, and made major efforts to earn a living with all kinds of strategies, they ended up with broken shards in their hands. Because of this, a person is obliged to believe and remember what the Torah said, and you will remember that it is He who gives you strength to achieve wealth. Everything that happens to a person in the course of nature, whether good or bad, is a sublime decree based on the deeds of the individual. If he deviates from the proper path and causes evil to himself within the context of nature, granted that the outcome is decreed by heaven, he has obligated himself and will be subject to judgment in the future for acting inappropriately.
Trying to figure out what he's saying over here.
Yeah, me too. He seems to contradict himself.
Yeah, the first thing he said was, step number one, he said, it's incumbent. Everyone has to conduct their affairs according to the principles of nature. What are we talking about? Preserving his health, earning a parnasa, right? He's not supposed to say, I can ignore my health and I can be lazy and I'll be okay. I'll be healthy and I'll have a parnasa. No, that's not the proper way. Step two. But we see though that there was many people that observed these so-called rules of nature, and to no avail. Right? There was a famous guy that promoted running and so healthy, and he ran every day and blah blah blah, and many people and of course the doctors also say that this is a good thing to get exercise, etc. But what happened to him? He was in the middle, I think, of one of his runs. He dropped right there on the spot, and that was it. So, but so it's no guarantee. Why not? Why? What's the deal? If it's a natural law, then shouldn't it be exactly the same law? There's no deviation from the law, no. So he says that you have to understand it's not simply natural law. It's what the pasuk says that, and you have to remember that Hashem is the one that gives you the koach. Hashem gives you the koach to achieve wealth. He gives you the koach to be healthy. He gives you every koach, everything that you have. And so therefore, what is that? So my nafkamina, so what? So what is that what happens to a person is not the result of natural law. What happens to a person is based upon hashkachas Hashem. Hashem is the one who's koveya, not natural law. And Hashem is koveya. Hashem decrees based upon the behavior of the individual. If he does what he's supposed to do, if he does the mitzvahs, if he does what he's supposed to do, and so that's why So that's what he says. If he deviates, now this is what this last sentence over here is. If he deviates from the proper path, so he's going to cause, and he causes evil to himself, and it's all within the context of nature. It looks like nature. He violated the law of nature. So no, he says this outcome was decreed by Hashem. And so what does he mean by this exactly? What is he talking about that he deviated from the proper path? Which proper path? So we would say like this. We would say like this. Really, everything is called the proper path. A person has to preserve his health. Why? Because we have a pasuk in the Torah that says, Tishmor es nafshoseichem ad ma'od. Hashem says to guard your health. So if a person doesn't do that, it's not because the laws of nature dictate that he's going to be unhealthy, but he's not observing, he's not going in the proper path. And there's consequences for not going in the proper path. It's just like not putting on tefillin. It's also the same thing as not keeping Shabbos. The proper path involves things that are supernatural as well as things that are natural. There's a proper path. It's all the mitzvahs of Hashem, though. And so therefore that's how the outcome comes out. The outcome is decreed by heaven. So it may be a bit illusory to believe in the laws of nature, so to speak. Okay. In other words, we guard our health because Hashem says to do that. Just like he tells us to put on tefillin and eat and don't eat basar v'chalav. That's how that we regard it as a mitzvah, and we're fulfilling a mitzvah when we do that. And the same thing goes for earning of a parnasa. That's the Ratzon Hashem. That's the Ratzon Hashem. We're doing the Ratzon Hashem so that we will have sufficient means to support ourselves and our wives and our families and whoever is there is over there. How many generations that goes down? We're not going to get into that, but that's the mitzvah. That's the mitzvah. It's not a natural law. It's a mitzvah. We're involved in a mitzvah. And so we have to perform the mitzvah. If we're derelict in the mitzvah, there's consequences for being derelict in the mitzvah, just like there's consequences for being derelict in keeping Shabbos. That's how I understand if he deviates from the proper path. Okay. And we are over time. Okay, so we say goodbye to Meir and have a good day to Meir, even though everything is well with him and his family, as Hashem, and we'll be back soon.
Thank you.
Okay.